Here's a nifty story. Philip Kuntz, a professor at Brigham Young University, wanted to see what would happen if he sent 600 Christmas cards to people he didn't even know. In 1974, he and his family got a record number of Christmas cards. In the weeks before Christmas, they came daily, sometimes by the dozen, and he still has all of them collected in an old family album. They say things like, "Dear Phil, Joyce, and family, we received your holiday greeting with much joy and enthusiasm. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Love, Lou, Bev, and the children." The cards came in all shapes and sizes, expensive ones, inexpensive ones, all kinds. But the message was pretty much the same. The sender wanted the Kuntz family to know that someone was thinking about them at Christmas time, that someone cared for them, and that someone loved them. Now, that all seems perfectly normal, doesn't it? But the thing of it is, Kuntz didn't know any of these people. He got some directories. He wanted to do an experiment, and he chose 600 names completely at random out of these different directories and sent cards to all of these people. He put in a little handwritten note, some pictures of himself and his family, and he just waited to see what would happen. He says, "It was a shot in the dark. I had no idea what would happen." But about 5 days after he dropped all those 600 cards in the mail, the responses started coming in, slowly at first, and then pretty soon they were getting 12 or 15 at a time. He got more than 200 replies. He said, "I was really surprised by how many responses there were, and I was surprised by the number of handwritten letters, some of them 3 or 4 pages long." Now, why would someone send a 3-page letter to a total stranger? And why did so many people respond at all? Just think of that law of reciprocity, and think of that professor, Professor Kuntz, the sociologist who decided to send 600 Christmas cards to people he didn't even know.
Angela referred to this as a nifty little story, but I have to tell you, you're looking at a guy who has spent over $1 million a year in direct mail advertising, and for me, it's a lot more than nifty. It's astounding. Not sure that I have ever seen anything like this. And I want to unpack this with you. I want to help you understand how a guy could send 600 Christmas cards to people he didn't even know and get over 200 responses. The way that happens is there are two ways in which a consumer is going to approach receiving our Goodwill gift packet, or receiving, in his case, the Christmas card, either through social norms or through market norms. Market norms are seeing it through a financial prism, a business transaction, and that's where all the gatekeepers are, and negotiations and skepticism and the like. Okay, the social norms are a completely different animal, and this is why you've seen the kind of results that you're seeing. Standard direct mail response rates are, you hope and pray for a 2% response. There's nothing unusual about, and most people are reasonably satisfied with a 1% response. It's not unusual at all to see 1/4 to 0.5% response. I personally one time sent 50,000 pieces of mail out at a considerable expense and got no responses. That one still stings. Okay, 2% though being the most optimistic view. So how is it that the professor got 200 responses out of 600 mailed when professionals hire advertising agencies to make the packet look as slick and appealing as possible, that they hire wordsmiths, copywriters to make the pitch, if you will, or the presentation of their concept as irresistible as possible, that they work with specific lists to be able to find the most fertile list where they're going to get the best possible return on their investment. And the professor did what? He just simply picked at random 600 names from a variety of different directories. So the difference is that when we receive something from a market norm standpoint, we react completely differently. Now, you want to be aware that when he sent the Christmas cards out, they were like any Christmas card. They were in typical greeting card envelopes. exactly the same way our Goodwill gift packages come. He didn't take advantage of any bulk rate that might be available to him for 600 envelopes. He affixed a first-class stamp. The cards were personalized. He included some photos of his family, that they were hand signed, that they made a little quick note about what had been going on in their lives. In other words, they were as personalized as possible. Exactly what you'll find in the Goodwill gift package with Chamber Revenue Strategies, that it's personalized. The ringless voicemail is calling to let you know that a packet is on the way to you, that your birthday or whatever celebration that we're calling to your attention is prominent in the package that's being sent. The other thing, of course, is that there was no solicitation, or they didn't want anything from the recipient. It was just simply a love offering. Merry Christmas. Our packets were very careful to make sure that there's absolutely no hint of any kind of a commercial relationship, market norms. We want to make it very clear that we're focusing on the social norms side of the brains. How do we do that? Again, there's no barcode on the envelope. There's no teaser copy. There's no request for them to do anything other than bask in their celebration, allow the chamber to add to that celebration with goodwill, no strings attached gifts. What we want to get into those social norms is something as unassuming as absolutely possible. So once they got the Christmas cards in the mail, within 5 days, they were immediately beginning to receive responses. Well, it takes a day or two to be able to get your mail to the house of its target, right? It takes a day or two for the mail to come back from that house. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they received the Christmas card and they acted on it immediately. And then after a few days, they started coming by the dozen, and eventually he had over 200 responses. What else? Did you remember her saying that some of the responses had pictures? Some of them had pictures of their child graduating, or pictures of their new home or their new pet, the new member of the family, if you will. Okay, very personalized. Okay, what else? Okay, that they had 3- and 4-page. Did you pick that up? Handwritten, personalized letters. As Angela said, who would write a letter for 3 pages to someone that they don't know? They're compelled to do it based on the law of reciprocity. After the 200 responses came in, and he saved them all in an album, the responses continued year after year after year after year. He was still receiving responses 15 years after the initial mailing of the 600 Christmas cards. So picture this. We send a gift certificate in a Goodwill gift package to someone for a free shampoo, cut, and style. And 15 years later, every 4 to 6 weeks, that person is coming in for trading with you, purchasing a shampoo, cut, and style. You send a gift certificate for a free pizza, right? I read recently that the average family spends $500 a year in pizza. $500 a year. 15 years later, they're still ordering their pizza from you. 15 times 500 is easy math, is it not? Okay. You give them a free month at your health club, and 15 years later, they're still training with you. You give them a free oil change, and 15 years later, you're taking care of all of their automobile needs, based on accessing them through the social norms that when you give, you must receive. But when you can't accept even a Christmas card from someone without a response.